Last month was filled with thrillers and crime, and the upcoming month will be filled with kind of a smattering of things, but at least some Christmas stuff. Hi, hello, welcome in. I'm Jerica, and I'm an editor, writer, and all-around content creator, and you have happened upon my November reading recap and December TBR. I don't think I have anything else as far as introduction, although I suppose I should introduce you, if you haven't been here before, to Ignatius. It's possible that we will get a second cat showing up, but he is currently quite asleep up on the very tippy top of the cat tree. But sometimes, just because he hears me talking, he'll come by. Yeah, I think it's just time to get into it. So, we'll start with Flowers in the Attic by Virginia Andrews, which I had started reading at the very end of October and finished in November. This was kind of a wild ride, and I was not expecting some of the themes in it, and some of the themes and content are certainly not for everyone. But I will say before you do that, I did really enjoy this. I just think that it's important people going into it kind of know that it might not be for them because of it. And the other thing that I'll say pre-spoiler is I didn't realize this was part of a series. So now I feel like I need to keep reading the series because I did enjoy it enough that I want to keep reading it. I'm invested in the lives of these characters. And also I realized at some point that this is based on a true story, which I had no idea. I don't actually want to spoiler this too much. So we're going to take out that spoiler section. Don't worry about it. There are uncomfortable themes, and I think it's important that people who may not like uncomfy things, particularly around children, and then deviant sexuality, I guess we'll say, look into it, and I will do a review about it that will have spoilers in it and talk about these themes. But one of the main things was in the back of my head, and the way that I'll unspoil, or like say this in like a way that doesn't really spoil anything, is that these people are trying to avoid a past, we'll use the word sin, a past sin, and yet they then put these children in like the perfect situation for it to happen again. And that was like my immediate thought when they kind of like revealed the past digression and how they were going to deal with the kids from here on out. The age of the children really plays into it. You know, it is a coming of age story for the two older kids. They are like just at the point of puberty when they're sent to, or when they're brought to their grandmother's house. Let me remember what's actually like revealed here. Yeah, so the kids are locked away in an attic, which is already obviously a very traumatic event for those kids and for the reader to see this. But the cycle of abuse continues. Definitely getting into like some spoiler territory there. Apologize, but I don't know. The other thing that I will say that has nothing to do with spoilers or the plot is that I did really enjoy the writing style. I think there was some very, like, pretty prose, and I think there was a lot of playing around with the way that things were revealed to us from the past, and then also kind of the current situation, because you go into this, you know, believing the characters are one way, and then slowly it's revealed that a lot of characters are different than we think they are. Or at least enough characters are different, or perhaps different, because it's really all about perception. And I think something else that is interesting is the idea of status is really important, is a really important theme throughout the whole thing, and kind of like the loss and regaining of status, what wealth and status does to a person. That's a really interesting theme that I don't think spoils anything. See, that's the thing, is like some themes like you can talk about and they don't really spoil the plot, and then there are some where you're like, yeah, like this is a thing that is, you know, a through line that's important, but it also tells you some stuff that happens. So yeah, I don't know. It's a good book. It's just definitely some hard to read content. And it is particularly hard because we are talking about children. Kind of like The Troop. The Troop, if you watched that review, it came out pretty recently on the channel. I had read through like some of the other reviews, and a lot of people didn't like the book because it was children in that situation. Now, it would be hard for it to be adults in this situation, unlike that one. But it is just always harder to kind of like picture kids in not living their best life. Yeah. Okay, I definitely spieled a whole lot about that, and some of it's going to get cut out. I don't know what's going on, but let's move on to the next one. This is the first one that I started in November, which is City of Bones by Michael Connelly. I feel like this might be like the first crime book, like crime thriller mystery thing that I've ever actually read, which feels weird because that's a type of show that I like to watch. I really enjoyed this one. I thought a lot of the writing was good. What do I have to say about this one? Because, like, I enjoyed it, but what do I have to say about it, you know? Oh, I mean, there are a couple of things that I can say about it. I do think that there is one character that I expected to be more prevalent and was clearly more of a red herring character, and it felt a little unsatisfying, but not so unsatisfying that I think it was like a bad job. I think I'm more upset that I had a guess and that guess didn't actually pan out, which actually is something that I really like, because as long as I don't feel too betrayed, I like it when my guesses are wrong, because I far too often guess things, and sometimes I guess things without even meaning to. Like, I'm not even like trying to figure something out. Like, I'm watching like this happens watching stuff a lot. And like we'll be watching something that isn't meant to be figured out, but I just like, I already know the whole plot. And there's nothing wrong with that, because I mean, stories go the way that they go because that's the way that they go, if that makes sense. And there is another thing that I find a little unsatisfying, but again, it's like understandable that it's the way that it went, but talking about that specifically will definitely spoil. So I guess what I like about the book is that it didn't always do exactly what I thought it would. There's a character that I don't love the treatment of, and I don't really understand the point of the character being in there. Which did rub me kind of the wrong way. Basically there's Okay, we're putting spoiler up here. The love interest is someone that I think didn't really need to exist or could have been used in a better way, because I don't really understand the point of her. Like, she shows up, immediately jumps into bed with the main character, which I don't actually have a problem with, but you'll understand why I kind of have a problem. And then I guess like another important part is like she's like an old rookie. She's like in her 30s and a rookie, and like that is generally not the age that you begin in law enforcement. Generally, like you go to the academy like right out of like high school or like right out of college, so like you're like in your early to mid 20s. And so like she's done this like huge life change. And it becomes clear that it's because she's like an adrenaline junkie, and then she like shoots herself. And I thought there was going to be more of a mystery around that. I didn't think that she actually shot herself. I thought there was going to be like somebody who was after her and I think his name's Johnny. Or like was after Johnny and then like shot her like in the parking garage or something like that. It just didn't like. And then she dies. And I don't feel like she really served a purpose. And like maybe I'm just missing the purpose. But it felt like she was just there to like be this like adrenaline junkie love interest who then dies, and our main character like feels bad about it. Like she feels like a plot point instead of a character, I guess. And if the plot point lined up with anything else, I think it wouldn't have bothered me as much. But I just don't quite understand why she was there. Like she wasn't like a foil to anything. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I just didn't really get it. But despite that, I still really enjoyed the book. I wish I had some examples. I probably have some in my notes. But those are for the review, so if you really want to know. But I think for the most part the writing was good. Like I don't remember like being like upset about the writing, which tends to be so like I'll like pull out like sentences and be like that's like just a bad sentence. Like the similes thing. Like I think there are bad similes. I don't really remember seeing any bad similes in this. So I think the overall structure of the way that most things were revealed was really good, even if I didn't guess the things, and there are a couple things that feel a little unsatisfying. I can understand the choice behind making them go the way that they were. Something really important to note about this book, and I'm going to move this to the front. Something really important to mention about this book is it is like the last one in the series, and it's the first one that I read. It was on my shelf because it was given to me, and they're all like self-contained stories, so I didn't feel the need to like go back to the first one, although I may now, or I may just try to pick up another series by Michael Connelly, because like I said, I do like it, and I'd like to see if he has maybe some newer ones where maybe there's like a better portrayal of female characters. Yeah, but I think the twists that we get were really good. Because there are like multiple things that's like, oh, like we think it's this way. Just kidding, it's this way. Never mind, it's actually this way. And I thought that was good. It's kind of what I want from a mystery, to like be spun around a few times, I guess. Then we get into what I'm currently reading, which is Missing You by Harlan Coben, and I won't talk too much about this one. We will talk about it. Well, actually, I might finish it this month. I'm recording this a few days early, of course, so I might finish this in the next few days, in which case I will definitely hop back in. So I'll talk a little bit about it now, and then I'll talk a little bit about it in like the next reading wrap up as well once I've finished it. This one was a case of almost DNFing, because And I can see a lot of people DNFing it for this reason with before getting to the part that kind of like is its saving grace. So there's some, and I think this is a little bit a product of when it was published. I think there's been like a lot of progress in the way that we talk about mental health and neurodivergence and things like that. And so it kind of like hit hard, kind of like not even like poorly speaking about it, just like not perfectly speaking about things like OCD, autism, and then schizophrenia or schizoaffective disorder. And the issue that I had with it early on was that it wasn't clear to me that they were actually talking about the disorders, if that makes sense. Like, it felt like they were descriptors, not actual diagnoses, if that makes any sense at all, because this is something that people still do. Like, they'll be like, oh, like, I'm so OCD or whatever, but like, they're not actually like, they don't have OCD. They're just like particular about something. But it's made clear later on that the OCD and the schizophrenia and stuff is actually diagnosed. And when we actually get to particularly the character who's schizophrenic, it's actually well understood and I think well represented. Like, it's not, the character isn't necessarily, or I mean, it could still get more intense, or more prevalent, but the little, like, the fact that it is a side character and we get as much representation and, like, well represented, is good. The other issue is more about identity, but in the same way. So this has switched where it used to be politically correct to use the term African American and not politically correct to use the term black. And now, like, it's like, no, black is the correct term, and unless somebody is from Africa, they're not African American, they're a Black American. And so there's some issue with that in it. That is prevalent, and just because of the time that it was printed, they were being politically correct. The other one is the use of the word transvestite. And this one's an interesting one because the character isn't transgender. He just sometimes dresses as a woman. More drag, but also just like in his everyday life kind of thing. Like, he does do drag performances, or used to do drag performances. I don't think he still does, just based on what's going on. But he's referred to as a transvestite, and that's kind of a term that is not used anymore as far as I'm aware. But I'm not sure what term would be appropriate for this character. I don't know if they would be, or if he would be, like, gender fluid, perhaps. Yeah, but I don't, the thing is like, I don't think it's really tied, like, it doesn't feel like it's super tied to gender. Like, I think he's always a he. I don't know, because the word that they use is transvestite, like, I don't actually know, like, what he would identify as, like, into, like, today's terminology, but definitely, like, when they describe him at first, the description is, like, it's, oh my gosh, I wonder if I can just find it. It's, like, pretty early in the book. Yeah, okay, so, Aqua, the product of an African-American father and a Jewish mother, liked to describe his skin as mocha latte with a splash of whipped cream. He was petite and lithe, and right now sat with complete stillness. Oh, this is not even the part. Is it just before this or just after this? Ah! It was just before this. Okay, this is actually the one that I was thinking of. Her instructor, Aqua, a diminutive transvestite with a schizophrenic personality disorder, never accepted anything but life-threatening excuses for missing class. And then, like, 2 pages later, talks about the skin thing. And now, I will say, it says that Aqua describes his skin that way. Which kind of gets around the don't describe people's skins as food. Because, like, he's describing his skin that way, and so that's fine. But it was still, like... And then, like, also schizophrenic personality disorder. I don't know if that's what's in the DSM-5 now. I can't remember if schizoaffective disorder is further down the spectrum or if schizoaffective disorder is the same thing as schizophrenia. I cannot remember. But the issue that I had with it is that I thought he was just using it as, like, a descriptor for somebody who's, like, a little, like, eccentric. But it does turn out that, like, diagnosed and then deals with, like, describing, like, the mania of it and the way that he acts. And the fact that he needs routine, otherwise, like, with a lack of routine, his moods become more erratic and, like, his hallucinations get worse and things like this. Like, it's actually well done. It's just not well introduced. That's what it is. These things aren't well introduced, and then they're dealt with better, because there ends up being, like, a big, like, racial theme as well. And the idea of progress, but it's, like, progress. Which I'm actually really enjoying as a theme throughout. Okay. That's enough about that. Next, we're getting into what I'm reading in December. Now, I promised that I would be reading Gremlins because it's a horror Christmas. Oh my gosh, I'm missing a book in my pile. Hold on, 1 minute. Horror Christmas. Christmas is partially the theme of December's TBR, but there is just, like, a random book thrown in that kind of feels more like it goes with October's stuff. But technically it's sci-fi, not horror, so I'm throwing it in because I really want to read it. And I got it new. I know. I'm sorry. I did the thing. I bought a lot of books. There's a birthday book haul either up or coming up on the channel because there was a store going out of business. They had a big sale, so we went and bought a bunch of books. All used books. There is a new book and then a new to me book in December. But Gremlins, I will read you the back, although I feel like Gremlins is fairly well known. It says, there were 3 warnings. 1, do not expose them to light. 2, do not get them wet. 3, above all, no matter how they cry, no matter how much they beg, never, never feed them after midnight. He ignored the warnings. And so this is an interesting one because this is a book that was written after the movie, rather than the movie coming from a book, which I just think is really interesting. And so I think I'm going to read it, and then I think I'm going to watch Gremlins, and I think that will be kind of the at least part of the lens in which I do the review for it. I kind of expect it to not be that well written, but I think going into it like that might be the right way to go into it, because then either it isn't well written and I'm okay with that because I just want to see how a book gets written from a movie and like the difference between that from a book being made into a movie. And then I forgot my train of thought. Oh, and then if it is really well written, I just get to be happy about it. So Gremlins will probably be the first one, although it partially depends on when I finish Missing You. If I finish Missing You by the 1st, I might read Frankenstein first, and then read Gremlins afterwards. This is the new book that I bought it new. It's not just new to me. And I mean, this is kind of like Dracula. It's a book that I feel like I should have read by now. I think I will enjoy it. And it's crazy to me that I haven't read it, kind of thing. But of course, part of the reason that I want to read this is because of the new film that's out. And I wanted to read this first. So let's read the back, although again, this is definitely one that I feel like a lot of people know at least kind of what it is. Even if they haven't read it, they've seen something has referenced or they've watched an adaptation of it. If I cannot inspire love, I will cause fear. The idea of a reanimated corpse was famously conceived by an 18-year-old Mary Shelley on holiday with her future husband Percy Bysshe Shelley and Lord Byron near Lake Geneva, Switzerland. The three were tasked with writing a ghost story, which resulted in one of the most famous novels to come from the 19th century. Published anonymously in a 3-volume series, Frankenstein instantly set the standard for a true literary horror, and its themes led many to believe it was the first true science fiction novel. In 1831, and after much pressure, Mary Shelley revised the text to be more fitting to contemporary standards. Presented by her readers' library classics is the original 1818 text of Frankenstein. Young scientist Victor Frankenstein, grief-stricken over the death of his mother, sets out in a series of laboratory experiments testing the ability to create life from non-living matter. Soon his experiments progress further until he creates a humanoid creature 8 feet tall. But as Frankenstein soon discovers, a successful experiment does not always equal a positive outcome. Yeah, I'm really excited because I feel like it's possible that adaptations have like taken like certain parts and expanded those and like left other parts behind. I feel like that's kind of what I've heard. I'm unsure how true that is, but I am really excited to read and then watch. And I'm not sure if the movie is actually like I feel like I saw something like it was more like based on it and like an extension of the story, but I'm not actually sure if that's true. Either way, I'm really excited to read this one. Kind of like I was really excited to read Dracula. It just feels like it's one of those like genre classics that, I don't know, we should read more genre classics. There's nothing wrong with literary classics, but also I'd like to know what else is considered a genre classic. The final book in December's TBR is, I'm unsure if I'm actually going to get around to reading this because, I mean, I'll probably read less in December because there will be a lot more family stuff going on and therefore less time to read. But this is a new to me from the birthday book haul, which is Christmas Revels. Brain broke. Christmas Revels by Mary Jo Putney. And it's actually like 5 novellas, not short stories. 4 or 5? It says 4 on the back, but I swear there was 5. There is 5. It's because there's 4 that are like historical and then 1 contemporary. And by contemporary, I mean contemporary to 2002. So like relatively contemporary then. The rest of them are historical and also were written in the early 90s. The rest of them were written before I was born. And then were historical. This one I literally picked up because it was Christmas. And I was like, I only have 1 Christmas book. So I will get another Christmas book. Like, I just, like, saw it on the shelf. I didn't even, like, really read the back of it. Like, I read the back enough to know that it was multiple stories. So, let's see what it says. Celebrate. I love writing Christmas stories because they include 3 of my favorite things. Tradition, lots of emotion, and a guaranteed happy ending. That's why I'm delighted that Berkeley is offering this holiday collection, which includes 4 of my classic historical novellas, plus something special, my very first contemporary novella. In a holiday fling, a British actress and a Hollywood cameraman team up to film a Christmas show for a good cause. Anything that happens between them will be a strictly temporary holiday fling. Or might it be more? In the classic historical stories, the Christmas Cuckoo features a level-headed young woman who goes to the local coaching inn and comes home with the wrong Jack Howard. Sunshine for Christmas has a depressed young aristocrat heading to Italy for the holidays and finding a most unexpected bonus. The Christmas Tart is the tale of a young Frenchwoman down on her luck whose bleak choice for survival takes her to a new chance for happiness, while the Black Beast of Belterre turns Beauty and the Beast into what is probably my very favorite holiday story. What all these tales have in common is two people discovering life's greatest gift, love, at the happiest time of the year. Enjoy. And so I'm sure I won't read more than one or two of these, and it's kind of unlikely that I even do that, but the last couple of days I have been reading a lot more, so maybe it just has to do, like, the weather has me reading more, I'm not sure. That does tend to happen, that I kind of, like, go up and down with how many pages I end up reading per month. But I think I'm most drawn to The Black Beast of Belterre. And then the title, The Christmas Tart, draws me in, but I think I like the, like, plot line of The Christmas Cuckoo more. So, we'll see if we get around to that. But I am pretty excited about this month's TBR, because Gremlins just feels like a very silly read. And then Frankenstein I'm really excited for, and I'm excited to watch Frankenstein afterwards. And then, I don't know, the idea of reading some Christmas Hallmarks, which is basically what those are. Yeah, I don't know, that just feels very nice. I might just choose to read one of those, like, on, like, Christmas morning or something. Just for the vibes of it, even if it's, like, interrupting one of the other books. We'll see. That's kind of, like, the best part. I mean, they are novellas, not short stories, so they're not, like, super short. Let's see how long. Like, I mean, we can just do the last one. Black Beast of Belterre goes from... It's relatively substantial. I'm not, like, the fastest reader. So, like, that's, like, one novella. Yeah, I think that's it. So thank you for joining and listening to me ramble about what I did read last month and what I'm about to read this month. I feel like my brain wasn't quite braining on the talking about what I read this month, and I do apologize for that. Proper reviews, I'm sure, will come out. I do have notes and things for those, particularly quotes and little jot notes I think are very helpful, but I think you got a good idea of whether or not I enjoyed the books and what made me enjoy them, which is the important part. So I'd love to know what you read last month and what you're going to be reading this month. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I had a blast. Catch you next time. Bye.